清蒸河豚, steamed fugu or pufferfish. I don't know if my insurance policy covers food poisoning, but here goes.
The last video ended at Dongguan's Naval Warfare Museum with me tapping and scrolling this touchscreen, which illustrates the layout, equipment, etc. of garrisons that line the shores of a strait in an area called Humen or Tiger Gate, where the Pearl River empties into the South China Sea. One such battery is just a cannon shot from the museum, the imposing Weiyuan Fort, among the best preserved structures of its kind in China. As I piece the clips into the final edit, can't help but regret just how much I screwed up the videos and photos. Didn't truly capture the scars of wars and marks of time of that dark past era set against the busy shipping lane and massive Humen bridge of this new epoch of relative peace and prosperity. Regrets. If you would be so kind as to pity me, hit that like. That dark past era is roughly 2 centuries ago when Weiyuan Fort was fortified at the behest of Lin Zexu to prepare for a looming invasion in what is today known as the First Opium War. Among his numerous other achievements, Lin Zexu is revered for his tolerance and resilience and respected for his adamant opposition of opium, as exemplified in his destruction of the drug also here in Humen. That's why the Naval Warfare Museum is also known as Opium War Museum and Humen Lin Zexu Memorial Museum. We would later pass by the gigantic sculpture of a broken opium pipe at Humen Square on our way to a restaurant in Humen town. Destination is Mingji Changuan, Ming's Restaurant, a local institution that's been around for 3 decades. The eponymous proprietor He Jiuming, affectionately called Uncle Ming, was born into a family of fishermen, so he knows his fish, including the rare and risky ones.
清蒸河豚, steamed fugu or pufferfish. I don't know if my insurance policy covers food poisoning, but here goes. Not just tasty. So far so good. Great actually. Just tastes great. No wonder why the Mingji restaurant comes highly recommended for the fugu.
Actually, chances are this is a non-toxic pufferfish. Known as he tun in Chinese, the puffer was prohibited from circulation and was seldom found in restaurants even in areas where there is long history of eating the puffer, like Yangzhong, Jiangyin, and Jinjiang of Jiangsu Province. However, the ban was lifted a few years ago because fisheries in provinces like Hebei and Liaoning have found ways to breed non-toxic varieties. I'll write more about them in the description section. Large proportions are exported to Japan and South Korea, but domestic consumption of he tun is on the rise, as found here at Mingji. The blowfish is prepared in what seems to be the most typical Cantonese style of steamed fish: chopped scallion, julienne, ginger, a drizzle of soy sauce. Nothing complex in seasoning. The focus is proper cooking time to bring out the natural flavor of the ingredients. This pufferfish soup is sweet too, like a minimalist version of the Japanese fugu chiri.
Now I'm going to give Japanese kudos for putting this on the global map of gastronomy, but the Chinese have been eating this for eons.
There are earlier mentions of the blowfish, but among the most cited is a poem by Song Dynasty's venerated literati Su Dongpo, who is also renowned as a gastronome, and he wrote, "Spring river water first felt to be warmed by the ducks, the right season to desire the incoming pufferfish." The incoming pufferfish here is interpreted as coming in from the sea to the river. Maybe he was describing the obscure pufferfish, which swims into rivers to spawn in spring and happens to be a widely bred species in China today. This timing is corroborated in actual practice. In the aforesaid cities of Jiangsu Province, it is customary to consume the blowie around Qingming Festival, which usually takes place in April. However, I've read that opinions differ in Japan. Fugu are in season later in the year when they fatten up to survive the cold, while springtime is no-go because the puffers store nutrients to prepare for spawning, leading to more toxic livers and ovaries. China-Hong Kong food critic Xue Xingguo also concurs, writing that Humen fishermen advises avoiding he tun in spring but eating in autumn. We shot the video in mid-September last year. I wouldn't call the blowfish fatty or luscious, though still mind-blowingly delectable. The meat was firmer than I expected. Its subtle sweetness would swell and balloon as I chew. Next, something unexpectedly less subtle.
Crab cake, Dongguan style, still sizzling.
The sizzling xiebing crab cake is made by mixing crab meat with ground pork, eggs, and herbs, then steamed before finishing off on fire to eliminate moisture and concentrate flavor while producing the charred, crispy sides. I'm quite surprised to find a crab cake giving a vibrant cake from a fair amount of aromatics, maybe basil, star anise, chenpi dried mandarin peel, etc. This is somewhat an anomaly in Cantonese seafood, which tends to be light on seasoning, as epitomized in the steamed pufferfish. Of course, care is taken to not overuse the spices. We can readily discern the familiar flavors of crab meat and crab fat, as in the tomali. The xiebing is one of Uncle Ming's signatures. It got him featured in a documentary on Dongguan cuisine, but I actually learned of Mingji from a book authored by another Hong Kong food critic, the Zhongshan-born Liang Wentao. Yes, interesting foods worthy of writing and filming about. Come back for a different type of local repast in the next video. 再见!